Live from the tank on the College of Staten Island, you're listening to championship coverage of the 17th Annual Tournament of Heroes Championship right here on CSI Sportsnet. Today, the College of Staten Island will face Tufts University as both teams vie to be the champions of this 17th Annual Tournament of Heroes Championship. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Babuski, joined alongside my broadcast partner, Joe Foreman. And, Joe, it's been a great 2 days so far, 3 games in the books. Now we move on to the championship game as the College of Staten Island gets ready to face Tufts University.
And it's been a very exciting 2 days of basketball so far. One more, we hope, great game in store for us. We've seen both of these teams be a part of some very entertaining games thus far in the tournament. We saw the Dolphins go back and forth last night with Bates. They had a big first half, really controlled that game throughout the first half, a bit closer in the second half, but the Dolphins able to hold off the Bobcats, who then dropped today's consolation game to the Griffins. And, of course, the Dolphins' opponent in this game, the Jumbos, taking on Gwynedd Mercy University yesterday, winning that game by 14 points. That was really a thrilling game up until about the final 5 to 10 minutes or so. A spirited comeback attempt by the Griffins, and that one fell short. They did ultimately take the lead for a short time in the second half, but the shooting and size of the Jumbos was just too much to overcome, and the Dolphins will have to overcome that shooting and size in this game today.
And, you know, Joe, the Dolphins are really starting to heat up a little bit. They started out, they dropped their first 4 games, but now they've upped their record all the way to 5-6.
And the Dolphins certainly have picked things up, and we saw that last year. They started off poorly last year as well in terms of win-to-loss record, played some very tough opponents early in 2017. And then when they came back home, really, starting with a homestand, the Dolphins really got back on the right track, playing their best basketball of the season, and have turned things around in this year as well. I'm going to take a quick look down the men's basketball schedule. You mentioned a bit of a slow start this year. The Dolphins got off to an 0-4 start, but have picked it up since, as you said. And not only have picked it up, but have picked up some big wins along the way. A 20-point win at NYU, and a big win over CCNY within the CUNYAC conference as well. The lone blemish on their conference record to this point, a loss against John Jay. So the Dolphins now winners of 3 of their last 4 games, enter tonight's action, or make that, 4 of their last 5, including last night's matchup against Bates, enter tonight's, or this afternoon's matchup against Tufts University, hoping to secure the Tournament of Heroes Championship.
Yeah, and you know, Joe, we look back at yesterday's game. The Dolphins played very well offensively. They scored 95 points. They shot 54% from the field and led by 23 points from Adeola Latunje and another 20 points from Christian Taylor. This team and Flag also finishing with 13 apiece. 4 Dolphins in double figures yesterday, Joe.
I mentioned previously, or earlier, during the first game of the day, some of the Dolphins' performances from last night. And once again, you highlighted some of those, but overall as a team, they just shot the ball so well in last night's game. It was really impressive what the Dolphins were able to do in the game overall, shooting 34 of 63 from the field, 11 of 20 from beyond the arc. They rebounded the ball very well on top of that. And if they can do all of those things once again, they can certainly compete with what is clearly a very tough Jumbos team that we saw last night taking on the Griffins. The Jumbos shot the ball extremely well in their game. As I mentioned before, the Dolphins will have to slow down their shooting. They'll also have to find a way to combat their size. I mentioned the disparity in size between the Dolphins and Jumbos earlier during our open to the previous game. I'll go through that very quickly once again. The Jumbos, I believe, had 4 players who got consistent minutes last night listed at 6'6" or taller. The Dolphins with only 2 players listed over 6'6" on their entire roster, those being James Delahanty and Shamal Martin. Both of them got some minutes in last night's game. Martin got the start. We'll see if that's the case once again as I take a look up at the scoreboard, and indeed it will be Shamal Martin getting the start for the Dolphins once again. So he will need to stay out of foul trouble and do the work that we're accustomed to seeing him do on the rebounds, especially the offensive glass, much more so than the defensive glass. Last night, several Dolphins contributed solid rebounding numbers in that game, as I'll try and pull those up very quickly. And taking a look at the numbers from last night, it was Stephen Flagg with 10 rebounds, Christian Taylor with 14 rebounds, Adeola Latunji with 8. All of those players are guards. And taking a look at the rebounding for Martin, he also contributed 6, the lone forward with more than a single rebound in the game for the College of Staten Island. So some good numbers on the glass for the Dolphins last night. They'll need that once again, and I'm sure they'll need some stellar shooting once again as well. Yeah,
and, you know, Joe, for the Dolphins to be successful, they're going to have to find some way to deal with Luke Rogers. Rogers, a big second half yesterday for the Jumbos, finishing with 14 points on 7 of 8 shooting, including 9 rebounds and an assist and 2 blocks in just 16 minutes of play, Joe.
And that's stat sheet stuffing by Luke Rogers in that game. And 5 of his 9 rebounds, offensive boards. That could be an issue for the Dolphins in this game. Also, Eric DeBrine contributed a pair of offensive rebounds. Max Oppenheim with a pair of offensive rebounds. And Will Brady with a pair of offensive rebounds. So several players getting on the offensive glass for the Jumbos last night. 11 of their 40 rebounds in the game were of the offensive variety. So the Dolphins will certainly need to box out in this game and utilize all the size they have and, of course, maximize their size with positioning because across the board, the Dolphins, generally speaking, do lack some size out there on the floor. We'll see if they can overcome that in this game. And, again, if the Dolphins shoot the ball the way they did last night, they can shoot with just about anybody. 55% from beyond the arc, 54% from the field. We saw Bates College, the team the Dolphins played last night, once again surrendering a strong shooting performance to Gwynedd and Mercy University today. We'll see if, once again, the Dolphins can take advantage of the openings in the defense like they did last night against Bates. We saw that also the Jumbos last night do allow teams to score. We saw the Griffins last night against the Jumbos put forth a good offensive showing as well. So the Dolphins will look to replicate the effort they saw from the Griffins in that game offensively while at the same time stepping up the defense.
Yeah, and, one of the things that the Jumbos were able to do very effectively in the game yesterday against the Griffins was to defend on the inside. They had 7 blocks in that game yesterday, and including forcing a lot of altered shots in that game as well. And, it's going to be a challenge for the Dolphins to see if they can operate effectively inside.
That's a good point, Mike. We've seen this Dolphins team really score the ball well from just about all areas of the floor, but I'm not sure they've had to combat size like this at any point this season. Again, a Jumbos team with a lot of height out there on the floor, several tall players, very tall players, I should say, getting consistent minutes. I've often considered myself rather on the tall side at 6'1", but that doesn't compare to this Jumbos roster. So the Dolphins will have to navigate through that, though. We haven't seen that really affect the Dolphins too negatively at the offensive end of the floor. Scoring inside, it's been more so on the glass and at the other end of the floor where the Dolphins have had some trouble stopping some of the larger players from scoring in the paint. I'm trying to remember back to what game it was. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but there was one game that you and I covered. The Dolphins had a lot of trouble stopping the opposition big man. I can't remember his name. I'll pull it up. I'm sure I have it here in my stats somewhere, but it was a tremendous effort from him in that game. I'll get that name, I promise, but the Dolphins ultimately went on to lose that game. I believe that was the game against John Jay, so I'll look there and give you that name in a moment. But the Dolphins have had more trouble combating size when the Dolphins are at the defensive end of the floor rather than navigating through it at the offensive end.
Yeah, and Joe, we should mention the Dolphins going for their 3rd Tournament of Heroes championship. They didn't win a game last year. The year before that, they went to the championship round before dropping that final game, and then the year before that was when they won their 2nd of 2 Tournament of Heroes championships. So an opportunity here for the Dolphins. And, once again, the Dolphins not making it easy on themselves, putting a very tough Jumbos team on the schedule. So if the Dolphins are going to win the Tournament of Heroes here this afternoon, they're going to have to do it against a very good squad.
And I want to give credit where credit is due. It was Doug Levy of the John Jay College Bloodhounds who really gave the Dolphins fits in that game, both at the offensive end and on the glass. The 2 areas that I just mentioned in that game, Levy 13 of 16, 4 offensive rebounds to go along with 12 defensive rebounds for a total of 16 in that game. He scored 31 points. So I wanted to give credit where it was due for a strong performance in that game. And it really goes to demonstrate the trouble the Dolphins have had dealing with size at the defensive end of the floor and on the glass. Those are 2 issues they hope to avoid in this one, though. There's no guarantee they'll be able to do that. They may need to shoot as well as they did last night to stay in this one. We saw that formula work out for Bates for the better part of both halves until really the very end of that last game. Bates able to stay in it purely based on outside shooting. The Dolphins may need to do that. They would like to find a different way to win.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game here this afternoon. And, I know head coach T.J. Tibbs very excited about getting another opportunity to come out on the floor. And, Joe, this will be the final regular season non-conference game for the Dolphins as conference play kicks up underway this Thursday, as Thursday, Saturday, and Monday will all be conference games coming up. So a lot of exciting conference basketball games coming up, but first a big Tournament of Heroes championship game here this afternoon.
And I think the starters are being introduced on the floor, so I will share those starters with you. First, for the Tufts University Jumbos, in numerical order, is number 1, Tyler Aronson. Number 2, Justin Koyumjen. Number 22, Brennan Morris. Number 23, Will Brady. And number 33, Eric Savage. And for the College of Staten Island, it will be number 1, Stephen Flagg. Number 2, Adiola Latunji. Number 3, Rigo Destime. Number 22, Chamal Martin. And number 23, Christian Taylor. We mentioned big performances last night from Flagg, Latunji, Destime, and Taylor. Martin also contributed 6 rebounds of his own. He and James Delahanty really cycling in and out of the game. Neither really played too many minutes, if I recall correctly. I'll double check it, but it seems like they split a lot of the time in the middle of that Dolphins defense, and therefore their rebounding numbers, really you can combine them and look at what the Dolphins have gotten from what we call traditionally the center position on the glass.
Yeah, so, Joe, you mentioned a little bit earlier during the pregame the amount of size that this Tufts Jumbos team has. So what do the Dolphins need to do to combat that here this afternoon?
And the starters for the Dolphins are being introduced on the floor right now. But taking a look, I mentioned what the Dolphins got from their starters in last night's game. I want to take a look at what the Jumbos got from their starters in last night's game. And going back to that box score from last night very quickly, I'll pull it up right in front of me. Leading the way with total points in the game was Eric Savage. Savage in the starting lineup tonight. And going down this Jumbos roster from last night, 5 double-digit scores. Luke Rogers added 14 points off the bench to go along with 9 rebounds. We mentioned that a few minutes ago. Justin Koyumjen also added 12 points. Brennan Morris with 14. And Eric DeBrine with 15. So you look at 3 of their 5 top scorers from last night's starters, 2 of them off the bench. So a very deep Jumbos team as well. A lot of players got many minutes last night. We'll see if they look to utilize that many players again in this game. Taking a quick look down the roster, I think I count 9 players with double-digit minutes in last night's game. So the Jumbos certainly utilizing their bench.
And, Joe, this is also a very young Jumbos team, only 1 senior on the roster. That's Brian Creonte. So, a lot of youth on this team, a lot of size on this team, a couple of big plays as well. And, like we mentioned, a very tough test here for the Dolphins as we have an opportunity to see Tufts here tonight in their road light blue uniforms and the Dolphins in their home whites as we're just moments away from getting started in this championship game.
I'm a fan when the Dolphins wear their Columbia blue uniforms, and I'm a fan of these Tufts uniforms as well. The Dolphins wearing their white uniforms with the gray numbers. As you mentioned, I believe the same uniform we saw the Dolphins wearing in last night's game against the Bobcats.
So Chamal Martin back in the starting lineup for the Dolphins, joined by Latunji, Destime, Stephen Flagg, and Christian Taylor as the Dolphins face the Jumbos, and we're underway as the opening tip is controlled by Tufts. Aronson with the basketball out by the three-point line, working the ball back out over to Kamujin. Now it's going to be Rogers at the top of the key, but we're going to have a whistle and we're going to have an offensive foul as Rogers quicks up a quick offensive foul. So quick turnover here for the Jumbos.
Well, in Game 2 last night, we saw a lot of foul calls like that early on. Some illegal screens, fouls away from the play, and that's how this game begins.
So Dolphins' first offensive possession now is it's Latunji getting the ball out over to Taylor. Taylor feeding it inside to Latunji, whose reverse layup is up and in. Nice move that time by Latunji as the Dolphins take a 2-0 lead.
Latunji looked like he came up gingerly after that make.
He did, as he's able to come down and grab the rebound. We're going to have to follow him and see if he's okay. Now it's Latunji with the basketball. Let's see if he can move on that leg. Now it's Destime in the corner working the ball out over the flag. And now we're going to have a whistle on the play. And we're going to have an offensive foul called on the Dolphins. So a pair of illegal screens. That one will be on Stephen Flagg.
Well, I just took a look to see if we have the same officiating crew as last night. But in that second game last night, a lot of offensive fouls and fouls away from the ball. Looks like different faces out there wearing the striped shirts.
Aronson with the basketball now, working the ball out in the corner. The open three is up, no good. A fight for the rebound, and Martin comes away with the ball for the Dolphins. Taylor looking to break the ball inside, working it out. Now getting the ball back. His jumper from the free throw line extended is good. Good start for the Dolphins. They lead 4-0.
Exactly what you want to see if you're the Dolphins. Good shooting to open this game.
Now the long three-pointer taken, and that's no good. And Flag there to grab the rebound for the Dolphins. Flag back to Latunji, over to Flag. The open three-pointer is short, and the rebound will be grabbed by Kamujin. Bates looking for their first basket. That long three-pointer will be short, and it will be Dolphin basketball. So Tufts starting out a little bit slow, and we're going to have a quick 30-second timeout taken by Bob Sheldon. So played just under 2 minutes, Joe. What have you seen so far?
I've seen a team that loves to shoot three-pointers. The Jumbos certainly like to pull those shots from beyond the arc, and it seems like just about everyone out there on the floor from them believes that they have limitless range. Sometimes it's not the case. You get the hot hand. Maybe you feel like you can take a step or two back. Of course, it's early in this one, and the Jumbos still haven't gotten on the scoreboard, but last night they shot it extremely well, and not off to a great start shooting in this one, though it's very early, of course. The Dolphins have already knocked down a pair of shots from the field, 2 of 3 for the College of Staten Island. You'd love to see Adiola Latunji and Kristen Taylor get going early. Both of them have knocked down their first shot.
So it will be the Dolphins to inbound the basketball here, just underway in this championship game, as the Dolphins with the ball and a 4-point lead. Taylor bringing the ball across the midcourt line. Kamujin there waiting to pick him up. 20 seconds remaining on the shot clock as it's Destim. Destim driving inside. His back shot is up, no good. And it'll be Rogers going up high for the rebound over to Aronson. Aronson back up over to Rogers. Faked the jumper, picked up his dribble, and now the ball's going to be stolen and knocked away. And here come the Dolphins looking to run. Destim. His pass is deflected, and now the Dolphins turn the ball over as that'll be Morris with the ball. Morris looking to work his way inside, picks up his dribble, and now gets the ball back up over to Savage. Now Savage feeding it out over to Rogers. His jumper from the free throw line extended is no good. Tufts yet to hit a shot here this afternoon. Taylor walking the ball up across the midcourt line. Kamujin there waiting to pick him up as the Dolphins look to set up an offensive play. And we're going to have a whistle and a foul on the outside on Kamujin. That's going to be the second foul on the Jumbos. Just enough contact, Joe, to pick up the foul.
We're less than 3 minutes in. 3 fouls called already in this game. 2 against Tufts and 1 against the College of Staten Island. Dolphins will inbound along the baseline.
Flag looking for somewhere to go to inbound the basketball, and his pass is stolen away as it's fed ahead to Kamujin, who lays it up and in. So turnover cost the Dolphins a basket. They now lead 4-2.
And we saw what turnovers can do to a team last game. The Bobcats struggled with it for both halves. Dolphins hope to avoid falling victim to that same fate.
Taylor working the ball in the corner, and the open three-pointer by Cartalis is good. Sorry, Joe.
Cartalis came in quickly off the bench, making an immediate impact.
7-2, the Dolphins lead as that pass is going to be stolen away, and it'll be Taylor with the ball. Taylor looking to work on Kamujin. He lays it up and in and draws the foul. Big play that time by Christian Taylor, and the Dolphins continue their good start. They lead by a score of 9-2, and Taylor will go to the line with an opportunity to make it a three-point play.
Dolphins off to a fantastic start in this game, scoring from both inside and out. Taylor taking it to the rim there, preceded by a Cartalis 3 from the right corner off a good pass from the inside, drawing in that Jumbo's defense and then finding Cartalis wide open in the corner for that last 3. The Dolphins have to like what they've done offensively so far.
So Taylor hits that free throw, and the Dolphins have their biggest lead of the game. 8 points, it's 10-2. Will Brady with the ball gets it over to Morris. Morris guarded there by Flag. Now passes it up over to Aronson. Aronson pulls up. His jumper from the top of the key is no good. Good rebound, though, by the Jumbos as Morris is able to lay it up and in and draw the foul. So second chance opportunity hurts the Dolphins as Morris lays it up and in, and he'll go to the line with an opportunity to make the three-point play. But Stephen Flag, Joe, will pick up his second personal foul.
And that's big for the Dolphins, as Flag was a big part of what they did offensively last night, especially in that first half. Flag came out very hot in last night's game against the Bobcats, and will have to take an early seat in this one. But as I mentioned during our brief pregame, the Dolphins struggle with size at the defensive end of the floor and on the glass, and we saw that right there.
Yeah, so a three-point play there is Tufts with a basket off a Dolphin turnover and an offensive rebound for their 5 points, and the Dolphins lead 10-5. Latunji with the basketball. Latunji working against Harrison. He pulls up. That jumper is up, no good. And the rebound is controlled now by Savage. Savage takes it coast to coast and lays it up and in. 5-0 run for the Bulldogs to cut the Dolphin lead down to 3. Taylor working the ball out in the corner, and the floater in the lane by Cartalis is good. 5 quick points for Andrew off the bench.
And if Cartalis can finish like that around the rim, he'll certainly draw defenses into him with his perimeter shooting, may be able to get a step towards a drive like that.
Latunji going up high for the rebound, and the Dolphins with the basketball, and a 5-point lead as Taylor's floater is up, no good, but he'll draw the foul. So that foul will be on Brady. That will be the first foul on Brady, as you have an opportunity to see Cartalis with that floater up and in. And Taylor will now go back to the line to shoot 2. Second line appearance for Taylor here early in the first half.
If you're a fan of the Dolphins, you have to like their aggressiveness early in this game, going right at this Jumbo's defense despite the size disadvantage on the inside. CSI not shy about taking the ball to the rim, and also their outside shooting off to a good start as well. We've seen Andrew Cartalis hit a 3 and a couple of jump shots in the mid-range area as well.
So Taylor splits the pair. He came into tonight's game shooting 67% from the free throw line, and the Dolphins' lead is back to 6. Aronson working it in the corner now to Morris. Back to Aronson. Now Savage looking to take the ball inside. He kicks it out for an open three-point jumper, and that's good. So Brennan Morris, the sophomore, with a big start here in the first half. 6 of the 10 Jumbo points.
And those are the shots that propelled the Jumbos to victory last night, the 3-point baskets.
Cartalis feeding it to Delahanty. Inside to Taylor, who lays it up and in. And Taylor on fire as well, Joe. He has 8. 15-10 now, as that'll be Racy with the open jumper. That's no good, and it'll be Taylor with the rebound, feeding it to Latunji. Latunji over to Taylor. Taylor now gets it back to Christian. Now Cartalis, his three-pointer is up and short, and the rebound will be grabbed by Racy, and here come the Jumbos looking to run. Morris with the basketball, and he'll draw the foul.
You see 3 Dolphins already off of the bench and into the game early on. James Delahanty, Andrew Cartalis, and Nick Taylor, all bench players getting early action in this first half. Both teams looking to play very quickly. Perhaps that's why TJ Tibbs elected to make some early first half substitutions, but he has to like what he's seen from his team at the offensive end so far.
As they work the ball inside to Rogers, and his floater from the lane is good, and Luke was able to do that a lot in the game yesterday. And he gets his first basket of the night here today. It's 15-12 Dolphins. Nicholas Taylor over to his brother Christian. Christian now looking to work against a double team. He kicks it over to Latunji, and his three-pointer is good. Big three-pointer by Latunji. He has 5, and the Dolphin lead is back to 6.
Second Dolphins three-pointer. They're 2 of 4 from beyond the arc, and nearly forced a turnover there.
But instead, the ball will remain with the Jumbos. They have 19 seconds to shoot on the shot clock.
Another quick substitution as Cartalis comes in for a couple of minutes, takes a seat. Rigo Destine right back out there.
So the Jumbos will look to inbound the basketball as they get the ball in over to Morris. Morris picking up the dribble now, working the ball out over on the side to Brady, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul inside, and I believe that'll be on Delahanty. It will be 14 fouls apiece here. So we played 6.5 minutes of play, 8 fouls called out on the floor.
We'll see which team pays the price for those fouls first. For both sides, they hope they can clean it up and avoid putting the other side at the free throw line too early in this first half.
As that ball worked inside to Rogers, and we're going to have a jump ball, and the possession arrow will go to the Dolphins. So a turnover here by the Jumbos will give Dolphins the possession of the ball with a 6-point lead.
And on the other hand, this game has had a frantic pace to it so far. Both teams may appreciate a stoppage in the action for free throws, though. We're still 3 fouls on each side away from that.
Taylor with the basketball. Taylor looking to work against the double team. A tough fadeaway jumper is short, and Morris is there to control the rebound. He gets it ahead to Cone, and we're going to have a whistle, and another foul called on the play as the whistles continue to blow here in the first half. And it will be Cone to inbound the basketball. Cone working the ball into the corner now. Back out over to Savage. Savage's long three-pointer is good. Savage with the three-point basket makes it a three-point lead now, 18-15.
Both teams have hit a pair from beyond the arc. Tufts 2 of 6. The Dolphins 2 of 4 early in the first half.
Delahanty looking to work the ball inside as we have a whistle. As Taylor went up in the air, he went down hard but appears to be okay. As we're going to have another foul called on the play. That's going to be on Brady. That's going to be his second, the team's fifth. It'll be a 30-second timeout, so let's keep it right here, Joe. It's been an interesting first half, a lot of offense, and a lot of fouls here through the first 7 minutes or so.
Well, once again, the Dolphins are shooting extremely well. They did that last night against the Bobcats, and here today against the Jumbos, they're off to a 7 of 12 start for 58% from the field. They're also 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. And the Jumbos at 2 of 6 right now, a far cry from what they did last night. The Dolphins would love to see them hover around that 1 of 3 range on average from beyond the three-point line. But given the way they shot the ball last night, I'm not sure I see that staying the way it is right now. The Dolphins need to capitalize on the poor shooting start from beyond the arc for Tufts, and hopefully for them extend their lead, though. The Jumbos have shot pretty well from the field so far, 6 of 14. For 43%. Both teams shooting it well this game. Again, as I said before, is a frantic pace. A lot of fouls called as well. Turnovers 4-3 in favor of the Dolphins.
So Latunji looking for somewhere to go with the basketball. He gets it up over to Taylor. His tough fadeaway jumper is no good, but Latunji goes up among 2 Jumbos to grab the rebound and lay it up and in. 20-15 now as they feed it into Rogers. Rogers' pass is stolen away by Taylor. Taylor looking to work his way inside, and that shot's going to be rejected, but we're going to have a whistle and another foul on the play.
Good defensive play there by Christian Taylor. I was waiting to see who the foul was called on. It was Tyler Aronson, but have to like what you've seen from the Dolphins defensively as well. I mentioned their stellar shooting, but they've been solid at the defensive end on top of that. And I think the recipe for defeating this Jumbos team, at least from what I've seen in the early part of this game, make them a half-court team. Don't let them run and knock down three-pointers in transition and get easy looks at the rim. When the Dolphins have forced them to work from the inside out, they've been able to force some more difficult shots and some turnovers.
As Taylor able to hit the second free throw, Christian with 10 points already, and the Dolphin lead back up to 7, 22-15. Aronson with the basketball, and boy, oh boy, if anything, it looked like an offensive foul there, possibly, Joe. Instead, a foul called on Cartalis, and boy, oh boy, 12 personal fouls called, Joe, in less than 8 minutes of play here in this first half.
I'm in complete agreement with you.
Enough with the whistles already. Another foul called on the play is we can't go 20 seconds without having a personal foul called. That's the 13th foul here, Joe, in the first half.
And it looks like we're in for a marathon of a first half. Neither team, that is the 7th team foul, or is it the 6th? Was it a shooting foul, Mike? It was. On the baseline, it was. Yes, it was.
A two-shot foul is that first shot by Savage is up and in. He'll have one more upcoming.
Well, as the horn sounds, so many fouls, I lose track, as the first foul was called against Cartalis. The second, a clear shooting foul on Latunji, though he didn't agree with the call. A foul called in that situation, of course, had to be a shooting foul. And
yeah, so 13 personal fouls here, Joe, through the first 8 minutes of play this afternoon. Taylor with the basketball. Taylor picking up the dribble. Bounce pass goes up over to Destine. Destine looking inside for Latunji. Instead, the pass is stolen away, and here come the Jumbos looking to run. Feed inside, and a beautiful move that time by Savage. It looked like he was going to kick the ball out, Joe, and he instead laid it up and in.
Like I said, Mike, I think you have to make this Jumbos team a half-court offense. That's the recipe to defeat them, and they get out in transition. They make plays.
As that shot is blocked, and here come the Jumbos once again. They trailed now by just 3, and taking the open three-pointer is Cone, and he buries it. 7-0 run for the Jumbos, ties this game up at 22.
Speaking of playmaking, penetrating inside, drawing in the Dolphins' transition defense, kicking out for a wide-open 3. That's what we saw from this Tufts University team last night. As
Latunji gets stripped from behind, but we're going to have a whistle and a foul called on the play. And that's going to be on DeBrine. He's been quiet here tonight as we have an opportunity to take a look at that Dolphin turnover that led to the nice layup there by Savage. So now Latunji will go to the free throw line to shoot a 1-and-1 with 11-11 remaining, and we're tied at 22. A lot of 11s up on the board, Joe. As that first free throw by Latunji is up and in, and the Dolphins now lead 23-22.
We had 11-11 on the clock, both teams with 22 points as well.
One more for Adiola. His second is up and no good, so he splits the pair, and the Dolphins have themselves a 1-point lead. They've never trailed so far here this afternoon, and it's now the Jumbos with the basketball and a chance to take the lead. Erickson, his pass nearly stolen away by Taylor once again, but the Jumbos able to regain possession as we have a whistle on the play. And
I think they'll deliberate backcourt or not, Mike.
Yeah, I don't think it will be, Joe. I think that the Dolphins might have tipped the ball, in which case it will be Jumbo basketball.
We'll have another look at it momentarily.
No, instead it will be a backcourt violation, and the Dolphins will get it off the turnover.
I can assure you Tufts didn't like that call.
You know something? It might be. I think that's the right call, Joe. Looking at the replay there.
Bob Sheldon still having a word with that official along the far sideline. He continues to do so after the Dolphins inbound it.
So the Dolphins now with the basketball at a 1-point lead as Taylor gets the ball up over to Catalis. Now it's Destim. Over to Martin. His shot is blocked away nicely. And here comes Tufts looking to run once again. DeBrine. They work the ball up over to Morris. His open three-pointer is good. Brendan Morris with the three-pointer. He now has 9 points. And Tufts takes their first lead of the day, 25-23.
I'm not sure if we have a points in transition tally on our live stats, but if we do, I can almost assure you that the majority of the Jumbo's points have come on the fast break.
Martin working the ball out into the corner. That three-pointer will be short. And the rebound grabbed by the Jumbos as here they come looking to run with Erickson. Erickson stopping, popping. That shot is up, no good. Taylor, a nice job to grab the rebound. Taylor looking to work his way through and gets called for the carrying violation. So the Dolphins turn the ball over once again.
Things are getting messy here for the Dolphins about midway through this first half. Only 4 turnovers, but their shot making has slowed down considerably. They're now down to 47% from the field, which seems like a great percentage, but when you're at almost 60 just a couple of minutes ago, not the downturn you want to see. And the Jumbo's up to 50% from both three-point range and overall from the field.
Jumbo's on a 10-1 run with the ball and a 2-point lead. They work the ball inside now, kick the ball out in the corner now to Erickson. He kicks it out. The open three-pointer by Morris is good, and Morris is killing the Dolphins from the outside. He now has 12, and Tufts takes their biggest lead of the game, Joe, 28-23.
And I've said it many times already today, to defeat this Jumbo's team, you have to keep them from beating you beyond the three-point line. And so far in this game, the Dolphins haven't done that. They got off to a good start, keeping Tufts from knocking down too many three-pointers, but that wasn't for lack of great looks. The Jumbos simply didn't knock down their open looks earlier in this first half, while the Dolphins seemingly knocked down all of theirs, but that's certainly changed over the last couple of minutes, and now the Jumbos find themselves leading by 5.
And you see on your scoreboard, Tufts 5 of 9 from the three-point line. The Dolphins 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Joe, the Dolphins led it in this game 22-15. Tufts now in the middle of a 13-1 run.
It's been a rough stretch for the Dolphins, but it's been characterized by poor Dolphin shooting and really great shooting by the Jumbos. And getting out in transition, Tufts University has really looked great so far in this first half, much like they did last night.
So Taylor with the basketball. Dolphins need a good possession here, as now that's Nicholas Taylor, who's checked into the game as well. He looks to feed it over to Christian, and Taylor trying to force that one inside, and thought the Dolphins were fortunate to get that foul call, Joe.
I think Taylor was initially catching that ball, and I think he tried to turn it into a shooting foul by throwing it up at the rim. I think that's what he was doing, but they're not going to award him the shooting foul. It's a 1-and-1.
So 1-and-1 coming up here for Taylor, as that first free throw is up and in. Taylor now has 11. Taylor and Latunji combining for 19 of the 24 Dolphin points. Make that 20 of their 25, and the Dolphins now make it a 3-point lead, breaking that 13-1 jumbo run. Taking the ball inside and drawing the foul that time will be Carson Cone, as the freshman from Pennsylvania taking the ball to the basket aggressively, and he'll now go to the free throw line to shoot 2, as Martin will pick up his first personal.
Well, you mentioned Latunji and Taylor with 20 of the 25. The other 5 belong solely to Andrew Cartalis. No other Dolphin has scored through the first 11 minutes. Only 3 CSI players up on the scoreboard. And for the Jumbos, they have 5 players who have scored in the game so far. Leading the way is Brennan Morris with 12.
So one more free throw upcoming here for Cone. Another freshman player. Joe, this team is loaded with a lot of talented freshmen and sophomore players. You look up and down this roster, a lot of talent, a lot of size, and a lot of youth.
And not one, oh no, there is one senior on this team, and I'm not sure we've seen him yet. Brian Creonte over the last 2 days.
So the Dolphins now trailing by 5, as that's Nicholas Taylor with the basketball. They look to work it inside to Martin. Now Cartalis with the basketball, back out over to Taylor. Taylor looking to fight his way inside. He feeds it inside to Martin, but he loses the handle, and the Dolphins will turn the ball over.
The Dolphins simply can't afford to turn the ball over right now. The way the Jumbos have shot the basketball so far in this first half, after a bit of a slow start for Tufts, they've really turned up their shooting and have jumped out to a 5-point lead. Dolphins looking to weather the storm.
So that's Morris with the basketball. He pulls up and misses that three-pointer, and the ball is going to be last touched by Latunji. So it'll be a second chance opportunity here coming up here for the Jumbos. Jumbos inbound the basketball. Now it's Savage out on the outside. He kicks the ball out now to Oppenheim, but we're going to have a whistle and a traveling violation on the play. So the Dolphins trail by 5 with 8 minutes and 15 seconds remaining here in this first half. Delahanty with the basketball for the Dolphins. Hands it off to Christian Taylor. Taylor now pulls up for the jumper. That's off the rim. No good. And Oppenheim goes up high for the rebound. And here comes Tufts looking to run once again as they lose possession of the ball. And now it's Taylor with the basketball. Nearly had it stolen away, but now working the ball into the corner for the open three-pointer by Latunji. That's no good. And we're going to have a whistle and a loose ball foul called on Cartalis. He doesn't like the call, but that's going to be his second personal, Joe.
A rare blunder on the fast break by the Jumbos. Dolphins couldn't capitalize heading in the other direction. Latunji got a good look at it. Dolphins fighting for that offensive rebound. Saw Cartalis called for the foul, his second, and that will send Tyler Aronson to the line for 1-1.
So big 1-on-1 coming up here as Tufts looks to extend their biggest lead of the game, which is 5 points, as Austin Mick will check into the game for the first time. As that first free throw is up and in, he'll have one more upcoming. So one more free throw upcoming, and that's good. It's now a 17-3 run for Tufts, and they lead 32-25. Taylor with the basketball. Taylor working his way inside. That shot is no good, but there to put the rebound back is Latunji. Big basket by Latunji. Dolphins needed it, Joe.
Dolphins certainly needed it. Right now they're living off their strong start to this game, but as you said, Mike, a big run for the Jumbos since then.
As Rogers, that short hook shot is no good, as Taylor able to keep the ball in bounds and hand the ball off to Mick. Mick getting the ball back out over to Taylor as now the Dolphins look to set up offensively. The long three-pointer by Nicholas Taylor is good. Big basket there. Dolphins now on a 5-0 run of their own as Latunji comes away with the steal. Latunji looking to work his way inside. The floater in the lane is no good. He's able to grab the rebound, feed it back to Mick, who buries the three-pointer to re-give the Dolphins the lead, 33-32.
Well, we saw timely shooting by the Bobcats earlier, some timely shooting by the Dolphins now, a pair of three-pointers quickly propelling them back in front.
8-0 run now for the Dolphins. After Tufts went on a 17-3 run of their own as they feed it into Rogers. He works it back to Savage. His open three-pointer is halfway down and out, and Latunji is there to grab another rebound. (33-32). Dolphins lead by a point as they feed the ball out over to Mick. Mick working his way inside. He hands it off to Delahanty. Back to Latunji. Over to Mick. His open three-pointer is good. I think that's the first time this year Mick made back-to-back three-pointers.
I know he hit a couple last night. Don't know if they were back-to-back, but he came in late and knocked down a couple of three-pointers. Gets an early opportunity today as the Dolphins make a defensive stand once again.
Big rebound there for the Dolphins as they work the ball out over to Nicholas Taylor. Taylor back to Christian, and now the Dolphins will set up offensively. Dolphins now on a 9-0 run of their own. And they have opened their lead back up to 4 points. Taylor bounce packs to Mick. Now Nicholas Taylor. Back up over to Mick with 5 on the shot clock. He works it over to Latunji. Back to Taylor. The long three-pointer is no good. Rebound grab now by Kamujin, and here comes the Jumbos. His long three-pointer is short. Rogers is there to grab the rebound, but he'll be fouled before he goes up for the shot.
Some applause from the fans, Mike, as they were entertained by that last sequence of plays. The Dolphins getting out in transition, knocking down some three-pointers. Austin Mick coming off the bench with a couple of threes. There's a look at an Adiola Latunji offensive rebound and putback. That was his second offensive board. There's the first three of that Dolphins 9-0 run from Nicholas Taylor, and that was followed up by a pair of threes from Austin Mick, who just came in off the bench. And what a spark for the Dolphins Mick has been as we get a look here at that, I believe, second Mick three-pointer from the corner off the feed from Delahanty.
Dolphins in the middle of an 11-0 run after they fell behind by 7. Let's see if Rogers can break that run with the second free throw. He does. So that breaks an 11-0 Dolphin run, and they lead by 3, 36-33. Taylor working the ball out over to Desteem. Desteem, his jumper from the free throw line is good. Big basket by Rigo, his first points of the game.
Dolphins are red hot from the field once again. Got off to a hot start and have picked it back up after they slowed down for a few minutes.
38-33 is now. It's going to be the short jumper in the lane. That time by Savage. And Savage is a good player, Joe. He led them in scoring yesterday. He has 8 already here in the first half. Desteem with the basketball. Desteem, another jumper from the free throw line extended. That's no good. And here comes the rebound with Savage. Savage working his way inside, kicking the ball into the corner. The long two-point jumper is good. Big jumper there by Carson Cone. He has 7 points, and we're going to have a timeout taken by the Dolphins. It'll be a 30-second timeout. So let's keep it right here, Joe. Series of runs, both teams going at it. Dolphins holding on to a 1-point lead.
And what an entertaining first half this has been as you get a look at some of the good work the Dolphins have done at the offensive end. That's Christian Taylor to Nicholas Taylor for the three-pointer. That the first of 3 three-pointers, which made up a Dolphins 9-0 run. Austin Mick with the other 2 three-pointers. But Eric Savage for the Jumbos has also been stellar so far to this point. You mentioned he has 8. thus far. And he's one of the few players on this team that I noticed last night was looking to score inside first and outside second. A lot of these Jumbos players looking for three-pointers, but a good shot fake there by Carson Cohen from beyond the arc in the corner, stepping in and knocking down the mid-range shot. So for Cohen, a big shot, really helping his team stay close to the Dolphins, who really propelled themselves ahead nicely with 3 straight three-pointers. We'll see if the Jumbos now can weather this Dolphins storm that CSI has put the pressure on with their offense.
So it's Taylor with the basketball, handing the ball off to Mick. Now it's Latunji handing the ball off as Dolphins look to set up offensively with 10 seconds remaining, but that ball's going to be tipped away and stolen by Morris. Morris looking to work his way inside. He kicked it out for the open three-pointer. That's no good, and Latunji comes up big with the rebound for the Dolphins. Taylor with the basketball as he brings the ball across the midcourt line as the Dolphins look to set up offensively. Taylor squirming his way inside of 3 players and lays it up and in. Beautiful move by Christian Taylor. He now has 14.
And I commend his body control time and time again. Finishes impressively at the rim just about every game for this Dolphins team.
Rogers swooping inside the lane and laying it up and in. Beautiful move by the sophomore Luke Rogers.
One great move to the inside and finish followed up by another. This time it's the big man, Luke Rogers, for the Jumbos, taking it in and finishing with the left hand, bringing the Dolphins deficit back down to 1.
40-39 as Taylor this time pulls up for the jumper from the free throw line. That's no good, and Rogers is there to grab the rebound for the Jumbos. Brady working his way inside. He kicks it back out to Savage. Savage working his way down the lane. He kicks the ball off, but draws the foul.
I'll make that, bringing the Dolphins' lead down to 1. Is with that foul, the Jumbos will have a chance to take the lead back from the free throw line. It will be Eric Savage to the line.
So Shamal Martin will pick up the foul as you have an opportunity to look at that beautiful move by Christian Taylor on that earlier basket. As Savage's first free throw is up and in, and that will tie the game up at 40 with 2 minutes and 56 seconds remaining here in this first half. And you're watching CUNYAC Game of the Week coverage right here on CSI Sportsnet, the 17th annual Tournament of Heroes championship game, where Tufts has just regained a 1-point lead, 41-40. Taylor getting the ball out over to Mick. Mick working it over to Latunji now as Dolphins look to find some breathing room offensively now with 12 on the shot clock. The steam, the floater in the lane, banks it up and in. Nice bank shot by Desteem. As coming right back and taking the long three-pointer. That's no good. Morris working his way inside. His putback is no good. Bodies all over the floor. Boy, oh boy. Desteem is going to get called for the foul on the play, I guess from the side. And the Dolphins in the bonus, so it'll be more free throws coming up here for Tufts. They're already 10 of 11 from the free throw line, and Jumbos do a good job taking advantage of their free throw opportunities. They're now 11 of 12.
We're getting a slow motion look at that last play. There's one man down.
Boy, oh boy.
That's a foul on Desteem.
It's the call. So it's a 43-42 game. Tough call that time on Desteem, but the Jumbos have a 1-point lead. Taylor with the basketball. Now works it over to Mick. Now it's to Latunji. Latunji puts up the three-pointer and buries it. 13 points for Latunji. Dolphins now lead 45-43.
Dolphins continue to shoot the ball extremely well in this first half. They're back up to 50% from the field.
Savage picking up his dribble. Now Mick comes away with the steal. Mick feeding it ahead to Latunji, but a beautiful defensive play coming back that time by Carson Cohen to knock it away. So it'll remain Dolphin ball with 27 on the shot clock.
Great hustle there by Cohen to get back and prevent an easy fast break opportunity for Adeola Latunji. I didn't catch who it was, but I think somebody got a hand on that pass to Latunji, which allowed Cohen to get there and swat the ball away.
Latunji with his jumper from the free throw line extended. That's in and out. And here comes Morris with the ball now for the Jumbos. Morris over to Savage. Savage working his way inside, and we have a whistle and another foul called on the play. So DeSteam now with 2 fouls. As that first free throw by Savage is up and in. One more upcoming as Tufts trailing by 1 now, 45-44. Dolphins with 13 personal fouls here in the first half compared to 8 for the Jumbos. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining here in the first half, and the Dolphins hold a 1-point lead. Taylor with the basketball. Taylor trying to work his way around the Mick pick. Now he gets it over to Mick. Mick working the ball out for the three-point jumper by Latunji is good. 16 points now for Latunji here in the first half.
He shot the ball extremely well from three-point range as well. 3 of 4 from beyond the arc in this game for Adiola to go along with 7 rebounds.
Oppenheim with the ball, gets it out over to Cone. Cone working it back for the open three-point look by Aronson is good. Big answer there for the freshman.
If you're a fan of offense, you have to love this first half. These two teams going back and forth. A lot of three-pointers made thus far. Fast-paced play. We have just under 45 seconds to go in the half.
Taylor with the basketball now. 17 seconds on the shot clock. Taylor tried to work his way inside. He nearly loses possession. Martin comes away with it, but that shot is blocked. And Tufts with the basketball, about a 3.5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
And you got a quick look at the three-point shooting for both teams on your screen. The two teams have combined to hit 12 of their 26 three-point attempts. The Dolphins 7 of 12, and the Jumbos 5 of 14.
10 seconds on the shot clock now as Cone gets the play going now as they work the ball out over to Morris. Morris puts up the three-pointer over Latunji. That's no good as the Dolphins with the basketball at 5 seconds remaining. A beautiful feed inside to Latunji, who lays it up and in at the buzzer. Great way for the Dolphins to end the half as they'll go into halftime with a 50-47 lead.
And we'll quickly be joined by TJ Tibbs, so I'll turn it over to you in just a moment once we find our third headset. There it is on the back of the monitor, and TJ will join us now.
So head coach TJ Tibbs, nice enough to come over and join us, and I think that's a record of getting over to the scorer's table the fastest after halftime. What'd you think of your first half of play, Coach?
Man, this is just a great basketball game. I mean, yeah, we're up right now by 3 points, but it's a great basketball game, great atmosphere. Both teams playing really hard and physical. It's a good, clean game. And I'm just proud of the way my kids are competing right now and fighting against a very good team and a good atmosphere at home. And I'm just very happy at how they're staying together, and we bounce back from the punch that they threw us.
Yeah, you know, you got a lot of points from Austin Mick in that first half, Coach, as he hit back-to-back three-pointers for you, and the Dolphins really getting hot, and Adiola Latunji finishing with 16.
I'm going to tell you something about Austin Mick. Austin Mick is one of the hardest working people I've ever met in my life. The one funny thing I hear about him and around this program is about why he's allowed to shoot so much and he hasn't hit shots. Not just because he's hit the last 4 threes he's taken in the last 2 games, because the kid puts the work in. You put the work in, you get the freedom, and then eventually it will pay off. And I'm very proud of that kid, and there's going to be more to come for him.
Good luck in the second half, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
That's head basketball coach TJ Tibbs, nice enough to come over and join us, Joe. And like he said, what an exciting first half of basketball.
Well, as I said, if you like offense, you enjoyed that first half. But if you like the game of basketball, that was a very entertaining first half. I think it's easily the most entertaining half of basketball we've covered this season, and there's still more to come in this, the 17th Annual Tournament of Heroes Championship.
So we're at halftime. The Dolphins lead 50-47. Why don't we step aside and take a break? You're watching the CUNYAC Game of the Week right here on CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com.
I, Krista, take you, Jamie, to be my wife.
The ceremony was a blast.
It was just like this surreal moment of my dreams are coming true.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said, "Oh, I apologize. She won't be taking you in as a client."
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
And sitting there in that small, cold room, I wanted to cry, just thinking, what did we bring this kid into?
We're simply asking to treat our family the same way that you would treat any family.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be. So we were walking to school. At the corner, we waited for the traffic light.
I started thinking about lunch. Mom got me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart,
want cheese pizza,
but
like at Luigi's.
sometimes her mind wanders.
They have this video game there, and Kate's got the high score. We should have a sleepover. Maybe I should pack my pajamas.
I remember saying, Laura? Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
When we finally got there,
she gave me a hug goodbye.
I really hope she doesn't
I
have
really
another
hope I
bad
don't
day
have
at
another
school
bad day at
today.
school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free online resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Here you'll get personalized recommendations, practical tips, daily access to experts, and more. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org.
Be right back.
Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. Yeah. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just
want to
this.
retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys. Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And then I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
In New York City. In New York City, there is a place for people that want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Where if you work hard, the possibilities are endless. A place to learn, train, and play. In that order. the City University of New York Athletic Conference. This is where it all comes together. Find your people, be a part of a team, and don't just play the game, change the game. Champions aren't born, they're built. The City University of New York. Be exceptional. In New York City, there is a place for people that want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, where if you work hard, the possibilities are endless. A place to learn, train, and play. In that order, the City University of New York Athletic Conference. This is where it all comes together. Find your people, be a part of a team, and don't just play the game, change the game. Champions aren't born, they're built. The City University of New York. Be exceptional.
We're back here at the Tank, and we're at halftime where the College of Staten Island leads Tufts University 50-47 in the weekly CUNYAC Game of the Week. And, you know, Joe, it's been an exciting first half, a back-and-forth first half. The Dolphins opened up a lead. The Jumbos came back and opened up a lead. Dolphins close it out and go into halftime with a 3-point lead.
Well, during our pregame, I mentioned what I thought the Dolphins would need to do to defeat this Jumbos team. The first, shoot the ball very well as they did last night, and they've done that in that first half. The Dolphins shot 51.5% from the field, including 58% from beyond the arc. So the Dolphins certainly accomplished that. They also needed to contend with the size of this Jumbos team in the paint, both at the defensive end and on the offensive end. I thought at the offensive end the Dolphins would be able to attack the rim effectively. They've done that. We've seen Christian Taylor get inside. We've seen both teams draw many fouls in this game so far. But on the glass, the Dolphins only a -1, 18-17. They've only allowed 4 offensive rebounds in this game and have grabbed 3 of their own. And for the Dolphins, you really have to love what you saw in that first half. And defensively also they've contended with that size, not only on the glass but at the defensive end of the floor. They were able to contain the larger players on this Jumbos team. Luke Rogers, a force at the offensive end with his size. We saw him make a couple of nice moves in the paint, but the Dolphins kept him relatively quiet, only 2 of 4 from the field, 1 of 2 from the free throw line with 9 points. As you get a look at full first half stats, I mentioned the shooting for both teams. You see the free throw shooting, 13 of 15 for the Jumbos, a very strong showing from the charity stripe. The Dolphins 7 of 9, the rebounding margin, a +1 in favor of the Jumbos. And in just about every area of this game, these two teams are fairly close. So the team that separates itself from the other in the second half will likely be the team that wins this game.
And, you know, Joe, we mentioned the Dolphins picking up 13 team fouls in that first half. Nicholas Taylor with 3 fouls in 8 minutes. Andrew Cartalis with 2 fouls in 8 minutes. 2 fouls apiece for Desteem, Flagg, and Martin as well. On the Jumbo side, 3 players with 2 personal fouls. Kabujian with 2, Brady with 2, and DeBrine with 2. So plays picking up fouls and could be an issue for the Dolphins here in the second half.
Well, free throws loom even larger in the second half. If down the stretch of this game, one team finds itself in an early double bonus situation, that could very well be the difference in the game, because these two teams have played a very similar style so far in this game. It's been a frantic pace, as I've mentioned more than once already. Both teams looking to push the ball up the floor, playing aggressive defense, getting out in the passing lanes, going for steals, and both teams, of course, shooting the ball well from beyond the arc. For the Jumbos, 6 of 16, 37.5%, a good number, but not nearly what we saw from them last night. And as I said before, the Dolphins at over 58% from three-point range, certainly getting it done from the outside. That's something they needed, and a big part of why they lead this game by 3 at halftime. When entering this game, I think many of us thought the Jumbos were likely the favorites given their pedigree coming in, but the Dolphins have played extremely well. You saw the enthusiasm from head coach TJ Tibbs with how his team has competed in this game.
Yeah, you know, it was interesting to see, Joe, how excited the coach was with their performance. He knew he was facing a very formidable opponent here today, and I think he's happy the way they've come out. And, you know, for both these teams, Joe, their second game in less than 24 hours.
Well, it's not the first time the Dolphins have faced a very stellar opponent this year. I'm going to look back. I believe it was Emory, the game the Dolphins played against a nationally ranked team earlier this season. They were very close in that game through the first half. I caught the end of the first half in that game. The Dolphins were right there, hanging with Emory University. Unfortunately, they wound up losing that game by 18 points, but a strong showing in half number one. The Dolphins hope that their effort in this game isn't only a strong showing for the first half, but a complete effort for both halves of play, and ultimately ending with a Tournament of Heroes victory.
So we're winding down. We're about just over a minute or so away from the start of the second half here in this championship game of this 17th annual Tournament of Heroes. And, you know, it's been a good tournament so far, Joe. Some 3 good basketball games so far, and it looks like we have the makings of a great finish here in this championship game.
Well, if the first half sets our expectations for this one, our expectations are very high. It was a thoroughly entertaining first half, easily the most entertaining half of basketball we've covered here this year. And we've seen some very good basketball here. That game against John Jay was a very exciting game as well, played here at the Tank. The men haven't been home very often. Their last home game prior to that John Jay game back on December 4th was against Montclair State on November 8th. So a month between their first 2 games played here at the Tank, and then, of course, returning home for the first game of the Tournament of Heroes they played in last night, game 2 on the evening, their first game in the tournament last night, and now, of course, back out here in the championship final today, leading by 3 at halftime.
So the Dolphins have led by as many as 8. The Jumbos have led by as many as 7. We're at a 3-point lead going into the second half, and we're about to get underway here with half number 2 from the Tank and the CUNYAC game of the week. 20 minutes to decide who will be the 17th annual Tournament of Heroes champion.
And while we have a few moments before the start of the second half, I have a message from the ROTC. Register for Army ROTC to be a leader and an officer in the U.S. Army, Army Reserve, or Army National Guard. You could also be eligible for a full tuition scholarship. Lead the team that makes a difference. Contact CUNY ROTC today at 212-650-6478.
So we're underway here to start the second half. Tufts with the basketball as that's Morris. Morris feeding it inside to Rogers, and he lays it up and in. And this was Tufts' formula for success in the second half yesterday, Joe.
Well, I mentioned the need for the Dolphins to keep Luke Rogers from becoming an offensive force. A lot of size and certainly scoring ability down low. He picks up an early basket to begin the second half.
So Flagg with the basketball. Flagg just played 4 minutes in that first half, picking up 2 personal fouls as Martin took that ball inside. His shot was blocked, but he did a good job of fighting for possession. It will be last touch by Tufts, so it'll be Dolphin basketball with 10 to shoot.
Well, we saw Stephen Flagg and Shamal Martin in that first half spend a lot of time on the bench, picked up a couple of early fouls, so you have to wonder if that will negatively affect them early in the second half. A lot of these other players have been out there for the majority of this game.
Latunji over to Taylor. Taylor looking to lob it inside to Martin. Instead, it'll be Savage coming away with the ball. Savage feeding it over to Aronson. He lays it up and in and draws the foul. So the Dolphins, who picked up 13 personals in that first half, pick up a personal foul here in the first minute. It will be the second foul on Latunji. We gives Tufts a 1-point lead, 51-50. As Aronson completes the 3-point play, and Tufts scores the first points here in this second half.
A lot of Dolphins with at least 2 fouls now following that foul by Latunji.
5-0 run here for Tufts as Flagg puts up that jumper. That's no good. And the rebound grabbed by Savage, and here comes Tufts looking to run. Savage behind the back dribble. Has the ball knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the Dolphins, so it will remain Jumbo basketball.
And if the Dolphins can just contain this Jumbo's transition offense, there's no reason why they can't hang around this entire game and ultimately win this game. So much of the damage done by Tufts University in this game has been in transition off of misses and turnovers.
Rogers picks up his dribble, and now he'll get the ball back up over to Morris. Morris with 12 points in a good first half. He feeds it inside, but instead Flagg will come away with the steal for the Dolphins. Flagg looking to fight his way inside. That shot is blocked. He's able to regain possession. He puts it back up. It's no good, but he draws the foul. So Flagg was determined on that play, Joe, and he was able to draw the foul.
Well, Stephen Flagg, as I mentioned, spent a lot of time on the bench in that first half. You said he only played 4 minutes, has come out aggressively here in the second half, getting to the free throw line. But very quickly at the other end of the floor, it looks like the Jumbos may be looking to feature Luke Rogers on the inside, trying to force the ball into him. Turned it over on that last possession, but Rogers already has an early second half basket, and his team has clearly made a point of getting him the ball.
So that breaks a 5-0 Jumbo run to start the second half as Flagg hits the first. He misses the second, and the Dolphins trail by 1 now, 52-51. Kamujin. Now Rogers. Rogers looking for somewhere to go with the basketball. He hands it off to Aronson. Aronson's pass is going to be stolen away as the Dolphins forced to turn over once again, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul as DeSteam is fouled trying to drive to the basket. That foul will be on Morris. That'll be his second. So 3 early fouls here in the second half for both teams as the Dolphins will inbound now, trailing by 1. Martin handing the ball off now to Lutunji. Now it's Flagg. Flagg looking to pass the ball inside. Instead, he turns it over, and that's going to lead to a fast break opportunity for Aronson, who lays it up and in. 54-51 now as Taylor feeds it inside to Martin, but he misses the layup, and Rogers is there to grab the rebound. Here comes Tufts looking to run once again, and the Dolphins with a nice play to knock that ball away as Savage down on the court. As Flagg goes in, his shot is up, no good. The ball will be knocked out of bounds. It will be last touched by the Dolphins, so it will be jumbo basketball.
And I'm not sure the Dolphins realized they had a 5-on-4 there. Savage was down at the other end. Thought maybe the Jumbos would commit an intentional foul. They instead played out the defensive possession and win possession back.
And Savage limps off the floor, and that could be a big blow to the Jumbos here as Eric Savage, the 6'3" junior from South Brunswick, will go to the bench. Tufts with the basketball now and a 3-point lead as Aronson feeds it inside to Rogers, and we're going to have a whistle, and that shot's going to count, and the foul on the play.
Fouls continuing to pile up, Mike, whistle after whistle, and we're only about 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the second half.
Yes, Flagg now picks up his third foul, and Rogers kind of shuffled his feet a little bit, but the official went with the foul call on Flagg, and now another 3-point opportunity here coming up for the Jumbos as they're able to take advantage of it, and they up their lead now to 6, 57-51. Taylor with the basketball now as he brings the ball up across the midcourt line. Dolphins need to get some offense going here in this second half, as that's Lutunji taking the ball to the basket. His layup is up, no good. Tough break that time. Fadiola, that ball was halfway down, but the Dolphins able to come away with the basketball. Now it's Taylor inside. He can't buy a basket, and now we're going to have a whistle and a foul on the play. So Tufts has come out on a 10-1 run here to start the second half to open their lead to 6, but now it'll be Christian Taylor who with an opportunity to go to the free throw line and break that 10-1 run. It'll be a full timeout, so we'll step aside and take a break. 16:54 remaining here on the CUNYAC Game of the Week. Dolphins trail 57-51. We'll step aside and we'll be right back.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
We're back here. The Jumbos lead 57-51, taking advantage of a 10-1 run to start the second half.
And you have to like the way that the Jumbos have come out. If you're a fan of Tufts University, if you're the Dolphins, perhaps you need to sit back, relax, and enjoy a Pepsi. As we'd like to thank Pepsi, one of our sponsors for this CUNY Game of the Week. Pepsi is the official soft drink of the CUNYAC Conference. So before the action resumes, quickly go grab a Pepsi, come back, and enjoy the rest of our Tournament of Heroes.
So Christian Taylor will go to the free throw line. Christian 6 of 7 from the line in the first half, as the Dolphins have fallen behind by 6, and that breaks the 10-1 run for the Jumbos and draws the Dolphins to within 5. Taylor's second is up and no good. So the Dolphins split a pair of free throws once again, and it'll be Tufts with the basketball and a 5-point lead. Morris, the open three-pointer, halfway down and out. Flag there to grab the rebound and gets the ball out to Destim. Destim up over the Flag. Flag to the basket. His floater is up, no good. He worked his way inside and lays it up and in. Good second effort that time by Stephen Flag.
And he's been as aggressive as any Dolphin out there on the floor in the second half, driving to the rim with reckless abandon, grabbing his own rebound off of missed shots, finding his way to the free throw line, and there finishing at the rim.
So the Dolphins now cutting the lead down to 3 as the ball goes out over to Aronson. Aronson working the ball in the corner for the open three-pointer, and it's good. Big three-pointer that time by Will Brady, and that opens the lead back to 6.
And that's a timely basket for the Jumbos, extending their lead to 6. The Dolphins can't let this one get away from them early in the second half.
Latunji with the basketball. His jumper from the free throw line extended is good. Good basket that time by Adiola. He now has 18. 60-56 as Aronson's short jumper is no good. He's able to work his way inside, grab his own rebound, and we'll have a jump ball, and possession arrow will go to the Dolphins. And the Dolphins will first have a couple of substitutions as Andrew Katalis and James Delahanty will check into the game. They'll replace Shamal Martin and Rigo Destim.
And before those last two makes, the Dolphins were 0 of 9 from the field in the second half. So the Dolphins now 2 of 11 from the field, and we've seen a 7-point swing since halftime in favor of the Jumbos as a result.
Taylor, bounce pass goes out over the Flag. Flag, a beautiful feed inside to Delahanty, who's able to float it up and in. Dolphins on a 4-0 run of their own to answer that 10-1 run and make it a 2-point game. Feed inside is nearly knocked away, but Oppenheim able to retrieve. Feed it out over to Morris, whose three-pointer is good. He's hurt them with the three-pointer all game long, Joe.
He has. Some great ball movement there by the Jumbos to set up Morris for another open three-pointer. That three-pointer is his 4th of the game. He's 4 of 9 from beyond the arc. 4 of his 5 made field goals coming from three-point range.
He now has 15, and the lead is back up to 5. His Flag fights his way inside and lays it up and in, and Dolphins keep on fighting, Joe.
Certainly do, Mike. And Flag continues to attack the basket aggressively. A strong finish there, stopping, floating it up and in, fending off the contact.
7 points for Steven, all here in the second half. Morris with the basketball. Morris now gets it over to Kamujin. Now it's going to be Aronson. Aronson gets it back up over to Kamujin. Now they look to Brady looking to feed it inside to Oppenheim. 5 seconds to shoot. Morris looking to work. The long three-pointer is no good. We'll have a shot clock violation. Good defense there, Joe, by the Dolphins.
And you have to love that defensive possession if you're TJ Tibbs. Easily the best that we've seen in this second half from the College of Staten. I only mentioned their poor shooting in half number 2 after a tremendous first half of shooting. The Jumbos shooting 75% from the field, and they won't maintain that if the Dolphins continue to play that type of defense we just saw.
So Taylor bringing the ball up slowly across the midcourt line. And now bounce pass goes out over the Flag. Flag has been an offensive force here in the second half, and he lays it up and in and draws the foul. Stephen Flag coming out with a purpose here in the second half. He now has 9 second half points to draw the Dolphins to within 1.
He got off to a bit of a slow start in this half, missing his first 2 or 3 shots, but since then has not missed. As a team, the Dolphins have connected on 5 straight after starting 0 of 9, and Stephen Flag looks like the Stephen Flag we saw in the first half of yesterday's game. Came out extremely strong in that matchup with the Bobcats and has come out very strong in the second half of this matchup with the Jumbos.
So the Dolphins have come back to tie this game up. 63 apiece with 13:48 remaining here in the second half. Tufts with the basketball now as that's Rogers. Rogers looking for somewhere to go. He loses the handle. They feed it ahead to Taylor, who lays it up, misses the shot, but draws the foul. Good pass that time by Delahanty. He didn't have much room to put it in, Joe, but he did a nice job dropping that ball in.
Well, Christian Taylor made like a wide receiver on that one. Jumped up over the defender, making the over-the-shoulder grab with 2 hands, and then managed to get a quality shot up at the rim. There's a chance he could have found the bottom of the net with that one off glass, but found himself in a very tough position. Still a makeable shot, not an easy one nonetheless, and he'll head to the line for 2.
Yeah, as we have an opportunity to see that turnover as Taylor tapped the basketball back to Delahanty, broke down the floor and just missed the shot, but he doesn't miss his first free throw, and that gives the Dolphins a 1-point lead. Taylor hits both of his free throws. Christian now with 17, and the Dolphins regain a 2-point lead now, 65-63. Brady with the basketball. Now they try to work it inside to Rogers, who lays it up and in. Nice play that time by the Jumbos.
Once again, they find Luke Rogers. Got away from him a bit over the last few minutes, but finding him there and quickly picks up another basket.
Flagg with the basketball. Flagg looking to work one-on-one. Flagg drives his way inside, but misses the shot. Brady now feeding it inside to Rogers, who lays it up and in.
I think a technical foul was called, Mike.
As we have a whistle and a technical foul. So Savage picks up the technical. Not sure what happened there, Joe, but not much of an argument for anybody, from anybody on the play. So Taylor will go to the free throw line as we have an opportunity to take another look here. As Savage, the layup goes up and in, as Savage just goes back. And
that was the previous possession, Mike. It was after the layup/dunk attempt by Rogers that the technical foul was called. So it might even be in this replay if it continues.
So Taylor
Here it comes.
So Taylor hits that free throw. And now the Dolphins with the basketball as we have an opportunity to see the layup. And Savage said something to the official and picked up the tee. Taylor with the basketball. Taylor stutter step. Taylor fade away. Taylor, it's good. 69-67. 21 points now for Christian Taylor. The long three-pointer by Savage is good. He comes right back to give Tufts a 1-point lead. 70-69 to score. Taylor. Bounce pass goes over to Flagg. Flagg looking to work against Savage. Flagg's jumper is good. 12 points for Flagg, all here in the second half.
And what a second half for Stephen Flagg. 0 of 1 in 4 minutes at the half. Now in the second half, he's connected, I believe, on 5 shots in the field.
71-70. The Dolphins regain a 1-point lead as this game goes back and forth here in the second half. Cone with the basketball. Cone getting the return pass. Cone the open three-pointer. That's no good. Taylor goes up high to grab the rebound. His 10th rebound of the game. Taylor bringing the ball across the midcourt line now. The Dolphins with a 1-point lead. Kamujan guarding him, and now it's Flagg. Flagg looking to work his way inside. His layup in and out. Savage grabs the rebound, and here comes the Jumbos looking to run. Kamujan feeding it out. The open three-point jumper is off the rim. No good. It's going to be knocked out of bounds. Last touched by the Dolphins, so it will be Jumbo basketball. But first we'll have 3 substitutions. Morris checking back in the game. DeBrine checking back into the game, along with Shamal Martin for Delahanty.
A wave of substitutions, and this game has not slowed down in terms of pace whatsoever in the second half. If you enjoyed the first half, you're certainly enjoying the second half action.
As Rogers spins, misses the layup, grabs his own rebound, and now throws the ball out to Kamujan. His open three-pointer, that's no good. And now the Dolphins grab the rebound. Flagg with the basketball. Flagg back up over to Latunji, who lays it up and in. Good pass by Flagg. Latunji with the layup. He has 20, and the Dolphins lead by 3. Kamuja with the basketball. Now it's Rogers. Rogers working it out over to Cone. Now Morris. Morris with 15 on the game. He passes it out for the open three-pointer. That's no good once again. But this time the Jumbo's able to come away. But Flagg with good anticipation to come away with the steal. The reverse layup is no good. But then to tip it back up and in is Cartalis.
You have to love the effort of this Dolphins team in the second half, making all of the hustle plays, getting in the passing lanes, following up missed shots, finishing on the fast break. And look at head coach TJ Tibbs at center court. You can't see him on the camera until right now, but he excitedly greeted his team. He loves what he sees out there. The effort from this Dolphins team in the second half has been remarkable.
6-0 Dolphin run here to retake a 5-point lead as you have an opportunity to see Flagg come away with the steal. Cone went back to guard him. He couldn't hit the shot, but the layup goes up and in on the tip-in by Cartalis.
Dolphins deserve a ton of credit for the effort they've put forth in the second half, and we'd like to let you know that Municipal Credit Union MCU is one of the oldest and largest credit unions in the country. CUNY students and faculty are all eligible to join MCU and experience the benefits and security of credit union membership. For more information, please visit the Municipal Credit Union's website, nymcu.org, and support the official credit union of CUNY Athletics.
Dolphins with a 5-point lead, 10 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the game. And, Joe, it's been a wild game of runs. It started out with a 10-1 run by Tufts as they took a 6-point lead, but the Dolphins fought their way back to take the lead. Tufts stormed back into the lead, but the Dolphins come right back on a 6-0 run to retake a 5-point lead of their own.
Dolphins started this half 0 of 9 from the field. Since then, they are 9 of 12. At halftime, they were shooting over 50% from the field. They're at 43 in the second half overall, and in the game, they're now back up to 48. For the Jumbos on the game, 37.5 from beyond the arc. The Dolphins, 58.3. More importantly, Mike, the Dolphins have not attempted a three-pointer in the second half, have gotten it done inside of the arc, attacking the basket, finishing strong, and getting easy transition baskets. They've changed the way they're playing offensively, and it hasn't slowed them down.
So it's a 5-point Dolphin lead now, as it's going to be Tufts with the basketball, looking to fight their way back, trailing by 5. Bounce pass goes inside to Rogers, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul. That will be on Martin. That's going to be his third, team's third, so Tufts will inbound the basketball with 20 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Morris getting the ball in. Morris looking to drive his way down the baseline. He's going to get the layup and the foul. Boy, I thought he traveled before either of those things occurred, but it said he'll go to the free throw line with an opportunity to make it a 3-point play as Cartalis will pick up his third personal foul. Morris now with 17, looking for his 18th point of the game, and he gets it, and that will make it a 2-point game. So Aronson will come back into the game. He'll replace Kamujin, as Taylor will bring the ball up the floor now for the Dolphins. Taylor crossing the midcourt line now, getting the ball out over to Flagg. Flagg, a beautiful feed inside to Martin, who jams it home. And the foul. What a play that time by Jamal Martin, Joe.
I thought they got him for hanging on the rim, and this place would not have been happy about that, but instead, Jamal Martin energizes this building with a two-handed slam off the baseline pass, a good pass. I didn't catch who it was who threw it, but Martin made no mistakes throwing that one down.
Beautiful play that time by Martin. Off the beautiful feed as that shot rolls around the rim. No good. So the Dolphins can't complete the 3-point play, but they do have a 4-point lead as we reach the midway point here in the second half. Rogers picks up his dribble at the free throw line. Rogers working the ball now into the corner. Now it's going to be played out by Cone with 12 seconds on the shot clock. Cone over to Rogers. Rogers spinning his way inside and floats it up and in. Rogers now with 16 points. And it's a 2-point game once again. 11 points for Rogers here in the second half as that's Martin going inside. He lays it up and in and draws the foul. Second strong inside move in a row by Jamal Martin.
Well, we've spoken about Luke Rogers and his prowess at the offensive end in this second half, but look at Jamal Martin for the Dolphins putting in some work inside as well. The two-handed slam converts through the contact, then receives that pass and finishes through the contact once again. The assist on that previous dunk went to Stephen Flagg. Wanted to make sure I pointed that out. Flagg continues his strong second half. Really didn't record much statistically in the first half in only 4 minutes. Has come out in the second half and played extremely well.
Yeah, Flagg playing very well, Joe, for the Dolphins, like you mentioned, as Martin's free throw rolls around the rim and no good. And Dolphins have cost themselves a couple of points on a couple of consecutive free throw misses. Aronson with the basketball. Now they work the ball inside to Oppenheim. Oppenheim working it back now to Savage. Beautiful move by Savage, but Martin comes over for the block but gets called for the foul. That will be his fourth foul.
That's a tough foul call against the Dolphins. Hard to tell if he got all ball on that one, but it's a tough call because, as you said, Mike, That's Martin's fourth, and he was just beginning to pick up his play. As you get a look at the free throw shooting for both teams, the Dolphins and Jumbos have each been to the line 18 times. The Jumbos hitting 16 of their free throws, the Dolphins 14.
As that first free throw is short, he'll have one more upcoming as Martin will have to come and go over to the bench now. Had a couple of late baskets here. And one more free throw here coming up for Eric Savage as that free throw is good. And it's now a 79-76 game with 9 minutes remaining here in this second half. Taylor working on Aronson, now hands the ball off to Flagg. Flagg looking to work his way inside, and we're going to have a whistle and a jump ball called on the play. No, we're going to have a foul instead. Tough foul on Kamujin. That's going to be the 8th foul for Tufts, so that's going to send Stephen Flagg to the free throw line to shoot a 1-and-1. The Dolphins have missed their last couple from the line. It's a 2-shot foul, actually, and Stephen hits the first.
And a full stat sheet in this one for Stephen Flagg. We mentioned only 4 minutes played in the first half. Has played 11 in the second half, shooting 4 of 12 from the field. But he has 11 points, make it 12. Also 4 assists now, 3 steals, and 5 rebounds to go along with those 11 points. A complete effort from Flagg.
Dolphin lead back up to 5 now, as that's going to be Cone with the basketball. Cone picks up the dribble, now works it over to Savage. Savage feeds it over to Oppenheim, and he's jammed by Latunji. Beautiful play that time by Adiola Latunji. 16 to shoot as the Jumbos will inbound. Aronson, the quick three-pointer. That's no good, but the Dolphins unable to corral the rebound. Kamujin working it up over to Oppenheim. They feed the ball inside, back up over to Cone. In the corner to Kamujin. That three-pointer is up, no good. And this time Latunji comes away with the rebound for the Dolphins. Dolphins with the basketball now in a 5-point lead as Taylor walks the ball across the midcourt line and hands the ball off to Flagg. Flagg working on Savage. Works the ball in the corner now to Cortalis. Bounce pass over to Flagg. His open three-pointer is no good, and Oppenheimer there to grab the rebound. Kamujin with the basketball. Working the ball in the corner. The open three-pointer is good. Eric Savage with the three-pointer. He now has 18, and that makes it a 2-point game, 81-79.
Savage 3 of 4 from beyond the arc now. None bigger than that last one.
Taylor with the basketball. His fadeaway jumper is no good, but Delahanty there to grab the rebound. He can't control the basketball as Taylor has it. He's got hacked from behind, but instead we'll have a jump ball called. Possession arrow will go to the Jumbos.
What a second half this has been. The fans behind us are into it big time. A contingent from Tufts is behind us to our left, and of course many of the Dolphins faithful filling out the tank in this one.
And Stephen Flagg will go to the bench after picking up 14 second half points for the Dolphins. Dolphins lead by 2. Tufts with the basketball and 7:24 remaining here in the game. Aronson with the basketball, looking to work against Cortalis. Feeds it out over to Morris. Now it's Savage. Savage a big second half. He works the ball out. The open three-pointer by Aronson is up, no good. And going up high for the rebound is Taylor. Just over 7 minutes remaining in the game as Taylor crosses the midcourt line, and the Dolphins lead by 2, 81-79. Taylor backing the ball out now with 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Taylor looking to work his way inside. That shot is up, no good, but the Dolphins able to control the rebound, and that's Mick. Mick over to Cortalis. Cortalis is open three-pointer. That's no good, and Morris is there to grab the rebound. Kamujin, Savage in the corner. The open three-pointer, that's way off, and this time Taylor is there to grab the rebound.
Jumbos are clearly content to live and die by the three-pointer. No hesitation shooting that from the corner by Aronson. Came up with nothing but air.
Taylor now with the basketball, looking to work against Aronson and Savage. He kicks the ball out in the corner. Now Latunji, the open three-pointer. That's no good, but Taylor able to corral the rebound for the Dolphins. And now he'll set them up offensively once again as the clock winds down now inside of 6 minutes remaining here in the second half. Taylor with the basketball, slowing things down here. Taylor now looking to start to weave his way inside, picks up his dribble, gets it over to Delahanty. Now it's Latunji. Latunji with his jumper from the top of the key. That's no good. And Savage is there to grab the rebound. Savage looking to feed it inside. And laying it up and in on the play will be Rogers. And once again, we're tied at 81, as now it's a 5-0 run by Tufts.
And Rogers utilizing his size well there. Savage putting that pass where only he could get it. Rogers continues to play a very strong second half.
Delahanty looking to feed the ball inside, and we're going to have a blocking foul on the play. And that's going to be the 10th team foul on Tufts, so that's going to send the Dolphins to the line now, and they'll be in the double bonus here for the remainder of the second half.
Well, the Jumbos fans to our left not happy about that call there, but it will send Taylor to the line regardless, and I think they're beginning to realize the Dolphins will not go away in this game, Mike. We have ourselves a game down the stretch with 5 minutes to go.
So Taylor's first free throw is up and no good as Dolphins now 16 of 22 from the free throw line, including some key misses here, Joe, in the latest stages of this second half. Taylor's second free throw is up and in, and the Dolphins retake a 1-point lead, 82-81. So Kamudjan will bring the ball up across the midcourt line now for the Jumbos. They'll feed it inside to Rogers. Rogers' shot is up, no good, but we're going to have a whistle and a foul on the play. So that foul will be on Delahanty, his second, the team's sixth, and that's going to send Rogers to the free throw line to shoot two.
And it seems like the Jumbos offense in this second half has been primarily three-point shooting or throw the ball in to Luke Rogers. It's been a good second half for Rogers. At the half, he had 5, and with that made free throw, his scoring total now up to 19. That was only his 4th free throw attempt. He's 8 of 11 from the field.
Yeah, they're now 18 of 21 from the line. Dolphins 17 of 23. One more upcoming here for Rogers, and he hits them both, and that allows Tufts to stick their nose back out in front, 83-82. Taylor with the basketball now as we're inside of 5 minutes remaining in this second half. Flagg with the basketball. Flagg playing well offensively. Flagg working his way inside and laying it up and in. Beautiful move by Stephen Flagg, and that gives the Dolphins a 1-point lead. It'll be a full timeout. So why don't we step aside here and take a break, and actually why don't we get you a CUNY read here, Joe?
All right, we'd like to let you know before we break that Hospital for Special Surgery is where the world comes to get back in the game. The hospital is ranked #1 in the nation for orthopedics by U.S. News and World Report. No wonder Hospital for Special Surgery is the official hospital of the CUNYAC. For more information, please visit www.hss.edu. And when we come back, we'll get you back into the second half of this game. Dolphins leading the Jumbos by 1 with 4:52 to go.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
We're back here with 4 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in the game, and the Dolphins find themselves now leading by 1, 83-82.
And what a second half this has been. It's been exciting from start to finish in this entire game, but this second half has taken it up another notch. These two teams going back and forth, and the Dolphins lead by 1 with just inside 4:45 to go.
It's a game with 14 lead changes and 8 ties, so it's been a back-and-forth game all day long, as Cartalis will get called for the kick ball, so it will be Jumbo basketball.
I spoke about it earlier. The team that reaches 10 team fouls first would be at a disadvantage down the stretch. That team is the Jumbos right now, and they trail by 1. They're over the limit. The Dolphins with 6 team fouls.
So it'll be Kamujin with the basketball now as he looks to set up with 14 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Justin passing it back now to Morris. Morris working his way inside, and his floater is up and in. Tough shot that time by Brennan Morris.
And that's a rare score for Morris inside of the arc. I mentioned the damage he's done from three-point range in this game, but his numbers from the field weren't all that great outside of, or I should say inside of the arc. He converts there in the lane.
Cartalis with the basketball. His jumper is up. No good. Latunji goes up high to tip it up, and that's going to be no good. And we have a whistle on the play, and it looks like it's going to be a foul on the tip-in attempt by Latunji. Is tough call that time on the Jumbos, but that'll send Adiola to the free throw line to shoot two.
Well, I'm not sure how much of it comes over our microphones, but some choice words from the Tufts University contingent for our referee. Nothing against the CUNY Code of Conduct or the NCAA Code of Conduct, but they aren't happy, to say the least. I think worst referee I've ever seen is one line I've heard from someone over my shoulder, but they certainly aren't happy.
85-85 the score now. 4:05 remaining as Latunji hits the second, and the Dolphins stick their nose out in front once again as we hit the 4-minute mark remaining in regulation time. Kamujin with the basketball. Handing the ball off now. They feed it inside to Rogers, who lays it up and in, and he's tough to stop inside, Joe, and Dolphins really struggling to contain him.
I'm shocked the Jumbos haven't gone to him more in the second half. He's been the most consistent source of offense, at least in terms of efficiency. He converts again there.
Flag with the basketball. Now Cartalis, no hesitation to hit the three-pointer. 89-87, the Dolphins regain a 2-point lead. Now it's a three-point attempt by the Jumbos. That's no good. Flag there to grab the rebound. The Dolphins with the basketball and a 2-point lead.
And another timely basket. This time it's the Dolphins. Andrew Cartalis hits a huge three-pointer from that right wing, putting the Dolphins back up in front by 2. They can take a 2-possession lead here.
Flag has been a force on offense for the Dolphins. The tough turnaround jumper, and that's good. Flag feeling it for the Dolphins, and they now open up a 4-point lead. Under 3 minutes remaining. Rogers with the basketball. Big possession coming up here for the Jumbos. Savage, the tough jumper, rolls around, no good. Rogers up for the big offensive rebound. The ball goes on the floor. Both teams fighting, and we're going to have a timeout called by the Jumbos. 2 minutes and 41 seconds remaining. Dolphins with an opportunity, just couldn't grab the ball, Joe, but they still find themselves with a 4-point lead and 2:41 remaining.
And this game gets more and more exciting as we draw closer to its conclusion. Stephen Flagg for the Dolphins in the second half, as we've said several times already, has been fantastic, but a huge shot by Andrew Cartalis as well. Scored 5 in the first half, has added 5 more here in the second half. He's now in double digits with 10. 4 Dolphins in double figures, those being Stephen Flagg, Adiola Latunji, Christian Taylor, and Andrew Cartalis. Both Taylor and Latunji with 22 points apiece.
Yeah, and you know, Joe, you look at this game, it's been a close game all the way. No team has ever led by more than 8 points in this game. Dolphins led by 8. Jumbos have led by 7. It's been back and forth, a lot of ties, a lot of lead changes. Dolphins now find themselves up by 4 with just 2:41 remaining.
And we are in for an exciting finish here, Mike. And a big offensive rebound there by the Jumbos as time beginning to run low on that game clock, 2:41. And they earned themselves another possession off of the offensive board. Were granted the timeout call. I believe it was number 2, Justin Koyumjan, on the floor, who was rewarded the timeout call for diving after that ball. Shamal Martin was hot in pursuit of it as well. He dove on top of Koyumjan, but Koyumjan gets the timeout call, and they will inbound from the baseline with 25 on the shot clock, 2:41 to go in this game. Dolphins lead by 4.
So here we go as Kamujin looks to lob the ball in as he gets the ball out over to Rogers. Rogers able to just drive it down the lane and lay it up and in. No answers for Rogers on that play as he's able to lay it up and in. And the Dolphins now with a 2-point lead and 20 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Taylor with the basketball. He's going to hand the ball off to Flagg. Flagg's been feeling it the whole second half. He has 18. Make that 20 as he drives it down the lane and lays it up and in. 4-point lead now for the Dolphins as they feed it inside to Rogers. Rogers looking on the double team. His pass is going to be stolen away by Flag as he was able to get the basketball, and now we're going to have a whistle and a foul called on the Jumbos. Big play once again by Stephen Flagg as he's going to have an opportunity to go to the free throw line to expand this 4-point Dolphin lead, Joe.
And I'm shocked that nobody on the Jumbos has told their players to stop letting Stephen Flagg drive to his right. Every time he's attacked the rim, he's gone to his right. And the Jumbos continue to give him that right side. He's done great work attacking the basket. We've seen him spin to his left one time, but primarily his work has been done from the right side. And they continue to allow him that space, and he's made the most of it to his credit.
Flagg with 20 points all here in the second half. Make that 21. One more upcoming here for Flagg. The Dolphins now lead by 4. Make that 5, or 6, I should say, 95-89 with a minute 59 remaining. Big possession here for the Jumbos. Aronson with the basketball. Aronson works it up over to Morris. Morris pulls up. The big jumper is good. Big basket that time by Brendan Morris. 22 for Morris. Dolphins with the basketball and a 4-point lead. Taylor with the basketball. 20 seconds remaining on the shot clock. He bounces the ball out over to Flagg. Flagg looking to work against Savage, and we're going to have a whistle and a blocking foul called on the play. Boy, that's a tough call, Joe.
And look
sorry,
Mike.
Late in the game, teams trying to play. You got to let them play through something like that.
And look at the way Savage was defending Stephen Flagg. He was squared off to Flagg's right shoulder. He wasn't letting him drive to his right on that one. And with that last shot, Morris now 8 of 13 for the Jumbos as Flagg misses the first. He was 4 of 9, so Morris has hit his last 4 on his way to 22 points, now leading the way in scoring for Tufts University.
As Flagg able to hit 1 of 2 to give the Dolphins a 5-point lead with a minute and 29 remaining here in the game. Aronson with the basketball looking to work against Cortalis. He feeds it out over to Morris. Now it's going to be inside to Savage. His reverse layup is up, no good. Big miss by Savage. Cortalis there to grab the rebound, and the Dolphins now in very good position with the basketball. A 5-point lead and 21 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Taylor with the basketball, 1 minute remaining. Taylor dribbling down as the shot clock runs inside of 10 seconds. Taylor driving his way down the lane. His layup is up, no good. And Tufts there to grab the rebound, and here comes Tufts with the basketball. Down 5 is Latunji. Comes over and knocks that ball away. Oh, boy. We're going to have a 3-shot foul called by the outside official on the play. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
I think that's more boy, oh boys than I've ever heard come out of your mouth in one sentence, Mike. That was one you didn't like.
There was an official right there on the play who was there watching the whole thing as we have an opportunity to take a look at it. Clearly a clean block, but instead going to the free throw line to shoot 3 free throws, called by an official who was probably 40 feet away from the play, gives Tufts 3 free throws on a clean block on a 3-point shot.
If you're a Dolphins fan, that has to be a pretty miserable feeling right about now, but CSI does still have a 3-point lead. One more for Kuyumjin from the line, and he knocks it down. It's a 2-point game, and more importantly, the Jumbos do not have to foul.
So 96-94 now. The Dolphins lead by 2. About a 12-second differential on the shot clock and the game clock. Taylor with the basketball. Taylor handing the ball off to Flagg now. Flagg looking to dribble now with 13 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Flagg, crossover dribble. Flagg, the pull-up jumper. Tough shot on the play, and the rebound grabbed by Aronson. The shot clock is off, and the Dolphins lead by 2. Morris over to Kamujin, and we're going to have a whistle and a timeout taken with 11.9 seconds remaining. So we'll keep it right here, Joe, but Tufts with the basketball, down by 2, and boy, oh boy, if Tufts could work their way back into the game, that's going to be a controversial foul at the end of that game.
Well, I don't think there's much controversy about it, Mike. It wasn't a foul. We saw it clearly on the replay. The ball was out of the shooter's hand, in my opinion. We're going to look at it one more time. And
boy, oh boy, Joe, I don't know about that one. Tough call on the play, but the player pleading with the official who was standing right there looking at the whole play. No call made, and instead the outside official standing all the way on the other side of the court somehow felt the need to call a 3-shot foul on the play.
Well, I did get another look at it there. It did look like Koyumjin's hand definitely bent awkwardly. It wasn't a traditional shooting release, so there is the possibility that he was hitting the hand after he released the ball, and that is a foul. But that call has to be made by the official standing right there. I'm not sure you can refer to the official across the court to make a call like that. Here's one more look at it as you see Latunji come flying in, and
I don't know about that, Joe.
Ball's out of his hand, Mike.
I really don't see a foul there, but the official disagrees, and that's all that matters. So with 11.9 seconds remaining, the Dolphins will have a chance to defend. And, if I'm Tufts here, I'm finding a way to get the ball into Luke Rogers' hands, Joe.
I think you're right, Mike. That's what I would look to do as well, but they have lived and died by the three-pointer. We'll see if they look for one more big one.
They get the ball out over to Savage. Savage has the ball knocked away. Now Latunji comes away with the basketball. Dolphins try to call timeout, but they will be unable to. But they have the possession of the basketball with 2.2 seconds remaining in the game. So still 2.2 seconds remaining, and the Dolphins holding on to a 2-point lead. They'll have to get the ball in play. We'll have a timeout on the floor. What a game for the CUNYAC Game of the Week, Joe.
A tremendous game from start to finish. It's not over yet. The Dolphins, though, will get to inbound the ball and potentially run some more time off the clock. According to the scoreboard, both teams have one timeout remaining. So if somehow the Jumbos are able to grab a quick steal, they can call timeout and advance the ball. But there may not be enough time even for that. The clock will start running as soon as they make contact with it. Only 2.2 remaining. They have to foul immediately, no question. The Dolphins, of course, would love to hit both free throws and put this game away, but if they were to miss the first and hit the second, the Jumbos could potentially advance the ball. There are ways that Tufts can get back and get one more shot attempt. It's not going to be easy, and in all likelihood, it won't be a quality attempt if they even get one.
Boy, if the Dolphins could get the ball into the front court here, Joe, with the amount of time remaining, it's hard to see how there's enough time remaining here for the Jumbos, but 2.2 seconds remaining, and we've seen a lot of crazy things happen. So the Dolphins will inbound the basketball, leading 96-94 in one of the most entertaining games that we've seen here. Is Dolphins looking for somewhere they get the ball into Latunji. He'll be fouled with 1.5 seconds remaining. So the Dolphins to inbound the basketball as we have the official going over to the clock. I don't know how less than half a second, 7/10 of a second could go by to inbound the ball and be fouled. So let's see what the official rules. So it looks like they're going to put 2 seconds back on the clock. I have no idea why, Joe. They say 2/10 of a second went off the clock.
Here's another look.
As they do put 2/10 of a second back on.
Well, they put a full half second. They took 2/10 off. So inbounded and fouled in 2/10 of a second.
Awful quick. So 2/10 of a second is the official call. 2 free throws coming up here for Latunji. And he hits the first. That makes it a 3-point game with 2 seconds remaining. If he could hit this second one here, Joe, he could really close the door on the Jumbos.
If he hits it, the game is over, and this place goes wild. If not, we have 2 more thrilling seconds of basketball upcoming.
The second free throw by Latunji is good. The Dolphins lead by 4, 98-94. A timeout will be taken on the play. 2 big free throws by Adeola Latunji.
And the Dolphins really needed those 2 free throws to put aside all worry regarding this last possession. But we do have one more message from a sponsor. CUNY fans, do you need sporting goods? Modell's has provided exceptional service for 125 years and offers a 10% discount to all CUNY students, faculty, and staff when you present your valid CUNY ID upon making a purchase. You got to go to Moe's.
You know, Joe, you never know what you're going to see when you come out and you see all these basketball games, but a big championship run here by the Dolphins. It was a back-and-forth game the entire way. The Dolphins come up with a big turnover at the end of the game as Tufts was unable to get a shot at the basket as Latunji forced the jump ball. The possession arrow went the Dolphins' way. And like I say, with 2 seconds remaining, Joe, it's just hard to see how they have enough time to get 4 points. If you're the Dolphins here, you just got to make sure you don't foul.
Absolutely not. And the timeout didn't advance the ball, so Mike,
you can't
this game
advance
as good
the
as
ball
over.
in college basketball on the men's side. If you're the Dolphins, keep the ball in the backcourt. Let them take that jumper. And that'll be no good. And the College of Staten Island, for the third time in their history, have won the Tournament of Heroes Championship as they defeat a Tufts Tubbs Jumbo team by the final score of 98-94.
And great efforts from several Dolphins in this game. Scoring, Andrew Cartalis had 10, 3 20-point scores for the Dolphins in this game. Not often we've said that. Christian Taylor with 22, Adiola Latunji with 24, and Stephen Flagg, who will be joining us momentarily, scored 21. All of those in the second half. A tremendous second half effort for Flagg, who not only scored 21 points, but he also had 4 steals and 5 assists in the game to go along with 6 rebounds, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. A complete effort from Stephen Flagg in this one.
And you know, Joe, you think that Coach TJ Tibbs was excited when he joined us here at halftime. You can imagine how great he's feeling here in a game that Tubbs came out in the second half, opened up the second half on a 10-1 run to take a 6-point lead, but the Dolphins would never say die, Joe, all afternoon long.
Absolutely not. You have to love the resilience you've seen from this Dolphins team, not only in this game, but time and time again over the last couple of years under head coach TJ Tibbs, and well before that as well, as Stephen Flagg will join us now. 21 points in the game for Stephen, all coming in the second half. A tremendous second half effort.
Stephen, congratulations with your effort. 21 points all in the second half as you help lead the team as the Dolphins win their third Tournament of Heroes championship.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, you know that you were playing a tough team here today with a lot of size. What was the plan to come out and battle them?
The plan today was just to come out tough. We really lack size sometimes, but as long as we all got heart, that's all that matters. As long as you think you're going to win and you're playing hard enough to win, you can overcome anything.
You know, Stephen, you had a tough first half. You picked up 2 quick personal fouls and got forced to the bench, but you took advantage, came out in the second half, playing like a monster, finishing with 23 points.
That's kudos to Coach Tibbs. He told me keep my head in the game. If he was thinking if I get back in the first half, I might pick up a third foul, and we really need my energy. So he just told me to keep my head in the game, and I appreciate Coach Tibbs for that.
You mentioned a lot of size in that Jumbos team. You were able to attack the rim seemingly effortlessly in that second half, finished around the rim strong. What did you see in that Jumbos defense that allowed you to exploit them?
What I saw was they were kind of laying off because they only expected me to go right. So when I would go right, they would come up, and I'll pass the ball sometimes. And if the second man didn't come up, I would go to the basket.
You know, Stephen, we're getting ready for the new year to come up and getting ready for CUNYAC basketball time as you'll finish the regular season with all CUNYAC games. What can we look for from the Dolphins in this second half of the season?
You can look for us to come out every single game with a lot of energy. We were the champions last year, and we're looking to do something like that this year. And just high energy, playing with effort, and whatever comes is going to come.
Congratulations, Stephen.
Thank
Great
you.
effort
I appreciate
tonight.
it.
Great job by the CSI Dolphins, Joe, as they go on to win the third Tournament of Heroes championship by a final score of 98-94 in what had to be one of the most entertaining games we've seen here at the Tank.
You're absolutely right about that, Mike. This is the first time I've gotten to see the Dolphins win a Tournament of Heroes championship, and it couldn't have been in a more exciting game. 98-94, both teams really shooting the lights out in this one. Great effort from the College of Staten Island to win this Tournament of Heroes championship, and we'll have some more information regarding tournament MVPs and stuff like that in just a few minutes. But if you're a fan of either of these teams, this was a thoroughly entertaining game. And if you're a fan of the Dolphins, of course, you'd love to see them win another Tournament of Heroes championship, and they've done that.
You know, Joe, it was a game that had 18 lead changes and 9 ties in it, a game that no team ever held a lead more than 8 points. And, you know, the Dolphins were facing a tough, tested, although young, Tufts University team, and they never gave up. They never stopped fighting, and even when Tufts was able to do a nice job pounding the ball inside, especially with Rogers and Savage, the Dolphins never gave up. And when they needed big defensive rebounds late in the game, they were able to get them.
They certainly did. Another thing I mentioned was how the Dolphins really changed their approach offensively in the second half. It may not have been their intent, but the game certainly changed in half number 2. The Dolphins shot 51.5% in the first half, 7 of 12 from beyond the arc. They led by 3 at halftime. They came out in the second half, really struggled shooting, starting 0 of 9 from the field. They then hit 15 of their last 27 shots in the game, only hitting 1 3-pointer in the second half, though it was a huge one. Andrew Cartalis knocked it down from deep on the wing, and that was a huge shot at the time. The Dolphins were able to stave off the late rally by the Jumbos, as you mentioned, grabbing some key rebounds and really tightening up their defense late in the game, not allowing any easy open looks in the second half for the Jumbos, despite the fact that the Jumbos shot 51.5% in the second half. A lot of those were shots inside, primarily by Luke Rogers from three-point range, though. The Jumbos 4 of 15, and slowing them down from three-point range was going to be necessary all along for the Dolphins to win this game.
Yeah, and Joe, it was a tough battle all the way, and you look back at the final statistics, you see the Dolphins turn the ball over just 11 times this entire game.
And that's something else I didn't mention perhaps as much as I should have. The Dolphins limiting the turnovers, and they did that very well in this game, of course, as you see Christian Taylor and Adeola Latunji posing for a photo op at center court. Adeola Latunji is our tournament MVP. And the College of Staten Island wins the 17th Annual Tournament of Heroes Championship by virtue of this victory over the Jumbos, 98-94, as Stephen Flagg will join his teammates at center court. I mentioned a tremendous effort from Flagg in this game, and it was interesting how he also noticed that it was clear how at least later in the game, the Jumbos were taking away his ability to dribble to the right, and when he was met with that double team, he was able to find his open teammates, hence the assist numbers in the game for Flagg as well.
Yeah, so Adeola finished the game yesterday with 23 points on 9 of 13 shooting. He also had 8 rebounds in that game to go, along with an assist and a block. And then here this afternoon, 8 of 15 from the floor, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, Joe, including those 2 big free throws at the end that help ice the game.
And he put the game on ice. Another great effort from Adeola Latunji. A well-deserved tournament MVP for him in this final round. Championship game, 24 points on 8 of 15. You mentioned the 5 of 6 from the line, also 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. But I mentioned Stephen Flagg's complete effort. And he only played 22 minutes, but they were 22 big minutes. He scored 21 points with 5 assists, 4 steals, and 6 rebounds to go along with it. Christian Taylor, his usual dominant self at the offensive end as well.
As you see the Dolphin players gather out on the floor, and we were going into this game, Joe, and I'm sure the coaches were too, knowing how tough a game this was going to be against Tufts University. And for this Dolphin team to come out and play 2 games back-to-back within 24 hours and put up 98 points on this Tufts Jumbo team, you got to be very impressed with the way this Dolphin team played in this entire tournament, and it certainly sets them up in good standing as they get ready to get the true CUNYAC regular season underway beginning after New Year's.
A flurry of CUNYAC matchups upcoming, and the Dolphins will head into those matchups coming off 95 and 98-point efforts, as well as, of course, a Tournament of Heroes championship. And this wraps up a great Tournament of Heroes 2018 at the College of Staten Island. And fortunately, we won't be away from you long. We'll be joining you again tomorrow for women's basketball versus Centenary.
Yeah, a little bit of a different kind of basketball game tomorrow, a little less intensity, but nonetheless excitement as we get an opportunity to see the women's basketball team play as well. And they've been playing very well all year long, but again, it was a lot of wondering about what this CSI men's basketball team was going to be. And game after game, Joe, you're starting to see a lot of toughness, a lot of durability on this team. And, like I say, as you get ready to start the CUNYAC true regular season after New Year. A lot of positive thoughts for the Dolphins as they go in really red hot as they get ready for the CUNYAC play, Joe.
And no doubt about that, Mike. The Dolphins answered a lot of questions. Can they shoot effectively enough to outshoot some of these teams with great shooting performances throughout the season? They answered that. Can they rebound with these teams? And can they defend these teams with prolific offensive attacks? They certainly answered those questions the last 2 nights. And as a result, they pick up the Tournament of Heroes championship.
So that's going to wrap things up here with our Tournament of Heroes coverage for Dave Pizzuto and Nicholas Durst, who've been broadcasting and doing the engineering work. And for Joe Foreman, this is Mike Babuski saying so long and thanks for watching. Once again, the College of Staten Island wins the Tournament of Heroes for the 3rd time in their history as they go on to defeat Tufts University by a final score of 98-94. Don't forget to join us tomorrow afternoon for women's basketball action right here at the Tank as the College of Staten Island will face Centenary College in their final non-conference game before they get started with their CUNYAC coverage as well. So have a great, happy New Year, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon right here on CSI Sportsnet.